Here we go. Hey everybody, welcome. So we have several of our yoginis from our training program on the call today, and I know that there's several of you that can't make it, so we're recording for you so you can catch up and hear everybody's story a little bit. And I would like to just start with one of y'all who would like to volunteer to go first. Tell a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your yoga journey thus far, anything about your Yoga for Love training journey, and then anything you just want to share that's on your heart. Who would like to go first? Catherine, okay.
I'm unmuted. So my name's Katie. I go by Katie. I started my yoga journey a couple of years ago at a different school, and I ended up moving away from Dallas. So I always go to Holistic Health Fair, and like the universe sent me to Lisa. So I met her at that free class she taught there, and I was like, I fell in love, and I was like, oh my God, I need to know her, and it must be her flock or something. So that's kind of where I got started. Right after that is when I applied to sign up, and that's kind of where I'm at now.
Yay!
Module 2. So
yeah, moving through. That's awesome. And Catherine also has since you started the program, you opened your studio.
Yeah.
And she was featured in a local newspaper or local magazine about her family and her studio and stuff. So it's just all of these confirmations that you're on the right path.
Yeah, it's been really, really fun journey. So
for sure. Well, super exciting stuff and more to come for sure. All right, who wants to go next?
Stephanie? I guess I'll go.
Okay.
So my yoga journey, I began doing restorative yoga last year in an attempt to slow down. I had a cheetah pace, and I like the turtle pace now because it allows time for reflection and just being centered and stuff. And so I had I'm just hungry for knowledge. And I met Lisa, we taught a class together, and I just gravitated to her energy. I was like, yes, preach, sister. Like, she was saying all the same things that I believe in. And then just life roller coaster. And then I saw her post about the training, and I was like, we had a call. And then, of course, just my thoughts got, well, you're not ready. Like, you aren't disciplined enough in your own yoga practice to go through this. And, you think you could teach, just all these horrible things. And I'm like, no, I want this. I want to be equipped with these skills, not only for my own self, but to be able to help others with, these tools for support. And so I'm not an advanced yogini. I can hang too, but I'm a big girl, so I can't do some of those things yet. I will say yet, but I'm really excited to learn more and be equipped, and and just be part of a like-minded tribe of just grateful hearts.
Awesome. Well, and I do want to share about that moment that Stephanie and I connected. I mean, we were both speaking at a small event in our local town that was all about health and wellness. And when she was speaking, I was like, yeah. And I was speaking, she was like, yeah. And we were totally backing each other up, and we were speaking about both the things that we're passionate about, and nutrition and essential oils. And it just really flowed so well together.
And I hate sugar so much.
Yes. And she was talking about the white death, which is sugar, and I was like, preach it, it was great. So just, it's awesome how the universe just brings people together. That was almost 2 years previous to today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a while. So, it's funny how relationships like that in your life build, there's things that just continue and things that dissolve. And I really feel just keeping and maintaining relationships is one of the most important things in my life. And that's why I have this training program with you ladies who is so personal. It's you and me. Even though you can be in another state or another, city, or, we can still do this together, and we're here to support each other. And more than a regular training program where you just see each other once a month for 8 weeks or 8 months, and then you're done. We talk to each other every single day. We have video chats regularly, and, you know, then group chats once a month. And so it's just something that's really developed from what used to be like a module-based training inside my studio where people would just come once a month to something where we really integrate into each other's lives every day. And so that to me is because of you, you know, and I just want to thank you so much for showing up and for accepting the invitation to be bold and be vulnerable and step into your personal power, and just to let go of all the bullshit that is holding you back and realize we're doing this for other people too. You know, we're bettering ourselves, of course, to better ourselves, but we're also bettering ourselves to bring it to the world. And ultimately, that's not the reason we ever start a journey, but it's kind of usually the organic end result of a journey, because when you are speaking from your truth and you find these tools, you just organically want to share. And whether it's just with your neighbor across the street, or, you know, someone in a nursing home, showing them how to breathe, you know, it could be something super simple. Or you could speak to thousands, you know, who knows what the universe has on your platform. But I want to embody you with the tools that you need to make it happen, and in your own heart, and have like Stephanie said, a grateful heart, and coming from a daily practice where these things are embodied in you. You're not speaking from just, you know, off the top, just what I kind of call cardio vinyasa. You're not just going to teach that. You're going to teach the tools that actually transform lives. Mm-hmm. Not to say that if you didn't do cardio vinyasa every day, you'd probably have a really rocking body, but it could also be very hollow. You know, you could have a very hollow practice where you just jump on the mat, check off your hour, boom, jump back into traffic, go back home, cook dinner. You know, there has to be more to it. And so that's really where we come in as a tribe together to bond together. Yes, of course, we're going to master the asanas and we're going to kick some ass on the mat. But at the same time, we want to have it come from a foundation that comes from a place where it's really, really rooted. So today, I want to share with you a little bit about some tools that I've used in my own personal practice. We had half of our group on the call yesterday, so I'd love to post that one too, so each of you can kind of meet the other half of the group. Due to our own logistics, some of us are better to meet in the afternoon, some of us are better to meet in the evening. So I would love for you also to share those cross viewing those calls so you can meet the rest of our group. But today I want to talk to you about mantra, chanting, and mala beads. So if anybody is familiar with any of those tools, show your hand. Okay, good. Amanda, I can't see your hand because you're muted, but that's okay. So I would like to share with you what I've utilized and some things that have really gotten me through some really, really deep stuff. And some days all I could do was just wake up or sit before I went to bed and chant, because thank God I had the tool and I knew the chants and I was able to get out of my head. Because there was points in my life that I probably could have gone crazy and I could have whacked out on my family or whatever, you know, could have went in a totally different direction. But I'm just super thankful that I was able to be given the tools, which I'm going to share with you little by little. But one of those tools, well, actually two of those tools, one of them I've already reviewed for you a little bit on a video link that I shared in our Hangouts, and it was the video link about Ayurveda and the practice of Abhyanga. So I didn't talk to y'all to anybody about that yesterday, but I will share that again. I have a YouTube library that's on my on my Yoga for Love Advanced Training Programs YouTube channel. And so I have several libraries of playlists that you can see on there if you want to check those out. And the Ayurveda one is one which has some really great daily practices. But in addition to like cleansing and self-care, the practice of sadhana, the daily sadhana, is something that goes deeper than that. So I've had a lot of people ask me, can I do this for my sadhana time? Can I do this for my sadhana time? Can I read a spiritual text or whatever? Or can I do a Bible study? You know, yes, all that is great for your daily quiet time, but specifically sadhana is a yogic practice. It's not a oil pulling with your coconut oil. That's not a sadhana. It can be, but what I'm looking for you to develop is some new tools and new skills. So it's not necessarily a cleansing action or a bath with Epsom salts and essential oils. That can become complacent, and it can become too familiar, and then you no longer practice sadhana. Because when you're practicing sadhana, it's something that you are lifting up your higher self. You are embracing that larger part of you, the bigger you, however you want to name that. And you're using that action as a way to honor that. And so that's when it becomes sadhana. So the simple act of brushing our teeth can become sadhana. But not if we just slap the toothpaste on there and just brush and start, texting and whatever at the same time. That's not sadhana. So, but when you put the toothpaste on your toothbrush and you have a spirit of gratitude, oh my goodness, I'm so thankful that I even have a toothbrush, and I'm going to brush my teeth today for, 2 minutes. And the whole time I'm going to repeat a mantra in my head, or, whatever. You can make these daily routines into sadhana by switching your intention. Does that make sense? So that's really where we're coming from today. So one of the practices that I would love to share with you is the mala beads. If you have any mala beads, for those of you that are on the call, Stephanie and Catherine, if you guys have malas, go ahead and just run and grab them. I know I didn't give you much fair warning, but if you want to go ahead and grab your mala beads or any special crystals or anything like that you'd like to use for our practice, if it's handy, you can pause your video and come right back. I'm going to grab
box of crystals.
Oh, yay! Right there within arm's reach.
Oh, yes, my baby.
Mine are always within arm's reach.
My opalite is my world.
That's moonstone?
Opalite.
Oh, opalite, yeah.
My world.
It's nice. I would love a piece of opalite. Actually, I don't think I have a piece of opalite. That's really sad, but I don't. I also am really drawn to moonstone. They look similar to me.
I got this one in Crescent Butte, and it's like Apache tear, which is the #1 for grief, and there's like a thumbprint in it that literally fits my thumb perfectly. I love it so much.
Oh, see, what a gift!
So I'll just like literally rub.
That little guy will just take all your stuff and he'll release it for you. It's so awesome how crystals are. In the Native American practice, we call the crystals and stones the stone people. And even though people generally, regular Western-minded people, think of stones as an inanimate object, they actually are alive.
Yep, the frequency.
They vibrate at a very low resonance, so they feel dense and solid. But they are not dense and solid. They're actually alive. So, Amanda, you're back. Yay! Do you want to share your story real quick? You're donating? Oh, bless your heart. Thank you so much. So sweet. Awesome. People like that are what makes the world freaking awesome. Thank you. So yes, if you don't give blood or plasma or both. So yes. Okay. So the mala beads, I'll show you a few of them that I have. This one is Rudraksha. Rudraksha is a bead. You can see the texture here. It's really bumpy. You have a Rudraksha, Catherine? Oh yeah, let's see it. Okay, there we go. Yeah, very pretty. So I love it. And so the Rudraksha beads are great. They are a natural little bead that has a hole in the middle. They're bumpy. They absorb a lot of energy. So when you do meditate and pray with them, then they will really have that energy of that prayer.
And Amanda, mute because I'm picking up the background noise of where she's at.
There we go. Okay. And this one is Rudraksha with crystal. So I love this one. Like Stephanie was saying, this one just fits my thumb perfectly. So I like to pet it. It's just awesome. So, our little crystals become our little friends. I know people think we're crazy, us crystal people, but they really have so much power. Like people that think it's woo-woo and fake haven't ever worked with them. So these little guys do a lot for us because they're able to hold energy, they're able to send energy, they're able to contain energy, they're also able to transmute. And we are energetic beings, meaning that even though we look solid and dense and we stand on the earth, we don't fall through or we don't fly off into space. We are made of energy, and this is science. This is fact that our bodies will completely be transformed within 2 to 3 years. None of our cells in our whole entire body will be the same. They're all going to be new. In 4 months, our skin's going to change over. And in 12 months or so, our cardiovascular system, our heart vessels are going to change over. In about 2 years, our bones are going to have new cells. So everything in us is consistently fluctuating and changing. So with that being said, the only thing that really keeps us as a being is our energy. Our energy is in this body. And so the stones are the same way. The stones have energy. They contain energy. They are utilized by the universe to help us as little tools. So those are some great tools. This one has Rudraksha, and it has a combination. So the cool thing, it's got twisted. See, when they get loose like that, you can get them restrung, because then they'll tangle up when you're meditating, which is a little frustrating. See how there's a lot of spaces between these? I need to have it restrung. So, because they should be right next to each other, and that way they won't tangle because you won't have any space. So if that happens, you can take it to someone that makes malas at one of the festivals, or you can send it off to somebody online that makes them, and they'll fix it for you. But so you can chant different things when you get to the different colored stones. They all have a different feel. So you could do one chant all the way around, or you can do different chants when it comes to the different crystals, which is kind of fun. As you begin to build more repertoire and learn more chants, then you'll be able to play with that a little bit. Here we have this one with one of my favorites, and I have a link if you want to order this exact mala, because I just love this one so much. This one is all the chakras. So you've got, and sometimes she'll alternate the stones, but this is a stone for the root chakra, it's hematite. This is a stone for the sacral chakra, it's cornelian. This is a stone for the solar plexus, it's yellow jade. This is a stone for the heart, it is rose quartz. No, that's not rose quartz, it's I don't remember what that one is. It's a pink, it's opaque though. Does anyone know what that one is? It's opaque and pink, and I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, so that's for your heart. Then you've got the turquoise for your throat, the blue lapis lazuli for your third eye, and then you have your amethyst for your crown. So this one I utilize in a chant, and I've recorded this chant for you all. It is in the audio files, and it's called Ham, Lam, Vam, Ram, Yam, Hom, Om. And so that chant is all the sounds of the chakra, and I'll teach you that one later, but you can listen to that recording. And so those are the ones that I work with. Oh, and then this one is Tulsi wood. And Tulsi is has been used for thousands of years for meditation. And it also is really light. It's very, very light feeling. Something to amplify, which works really well, is selenite. And selenite is great for Reiki work and energy work and things like that. But also it helps to amplify the other crystals and the other stones, so you can keep it with them. So, and I have an ultra space set up here, which has all of my beautiful crystals and stones and objects and things like that. And I'll change it up with the moon. So usually at the new moon, we'll make a new one. And sometimes I'll just take them all down, and sometimes I'll put them all out. And so whenever we have special events, then I'll make a group altar. So for those of you that are coming to the retreat, you can bring your beautiful objects and we can create something amazing together. And when all the little crystal friends get together, they really become powerful. So it's super awesome. So the chant I would like to teach you today is working with Ganesha. And this is the one I taught everybody yesterday, so I want you guys all to learn the same one. Rachel put this little smudge stick on him. So there he is, Ganesha. He has a little peacock feather and a piece of horsehair on him for fun. But this is a little icon, little symbol. And the symbol for Ganesha, he is the remover of obstacles. And so if you've ever done any work with Ganesha, we all have obstacles in our life. We all have stuff that comes up and stuff that needs to be pushed through. And we also have stuff that we just need to go around. We also have stuff that will just completely stop us in our tracks. You know, major things with our health. Sometimes if we're not paying attention, we could break our foot, or, you know, if we're not moving in the right direction. So we have to kind of pay attention to when those things come up. Also, sometimes Ganesha will purposely throw something in our path, so we have to learn that lesson. So sometimes we think it's easier just to continue on our path and not have to have anything in the way, and that's just going to be the way it is when we're on this perfect spiritual track. But actually, as spiritual beings, and Catherine's like, yeah, that's not right. Nobody thinks that, I don't think, honestly. But, you know, sometimes we think maybe that's the ideal world. Like if I was just going to do everything right, it'd be perfect, and I wouldn't have it would be all in the flow and da-da-da and all that. But what really happens is Ganesha goes and throws something right in your way. And it's something that you really have to pay attention to. And if you don't pay attention, it's going to get louder and bigger. And sometimes we're supposed to work with that energy instead of avoid it. So when I first started working with Ganesha energy, I thought, oh, well, this is something that every time I get an obstacle, I'm just supposed to pray about removing it and, you know, getting past it. And no, sometimes the lesson is the journey. Well, always the lesson is in the journey. But sometimes that obstacle is the reason that you have to have it. It's just part of the package. So regardless of what your intention is, you sometimes don't really know, you know, really what's going to come out of it. But utilizing the Ganesha energy has been done for thousands of years with the Ganesha chant. And the simplest tune for the chant for me is Om Gun Ganapataye Namaha. So I'd like for you to unmute and chant with me. I know, I'm putting you on the spot. Don't worry if you mess up. There's really no messing up. Just try to utilize the sounds. And when you do, I'm going to just start with I'll just use this one because it doesn't have any different beads. So I'm just going to use a plain Rudraksha. What we're going to do is we're just going to do half of the mala. So the mala is 108, and so half of it would be 54. It actually goes much faster than you'd think. However, when you're moving your fingers and you're chanting, a wonderful thing that we had some feedback from yesterday, and I hope you find the same, is that when you are moving through the chant and chanting, oh, rhododendrite. Yes, it's rhododendrite. Someone put that on the chat. Yay, thank you for identifying that. I've been wanting to look that up forever. I appreciate that. So, sidetrack. Squirrel.
You just saw that.
So when you're moving through your chant, there's a particular way that you're going to hold your beads. And it's not the easiest way, because the easiest way you would just check out, oh, I got to take out the trash, I got to do some laundry. So you want it to be a little bit taxing, because that makes the experience keep you in the present. Just like when you're meditating, and the most traditional mudra is the jhana mudra. If you're falling asleep, your fingers are going to come open. That is one of the simplest things to learn, is that when your fingers are touching, you're consciously meditating. Mm-hmm. When your fingers are open and I fell asleep, so that touch point keeps you conscious in the present moment. So the tactile portion of your mala is super important. The different chakras and different stones for the chakras and beads have a different feel. So sometimes it might feel better. I like to build my chants into one particular mala. So like I'll use this mala just for the Ganesha chant. I'll use one mala just for the Gayatri chant. I'll use one mala for the Lakshmi chant. So I started to build that energy in there. Another important thing too is that you're not going to be teaching chants to anybody unless you've actually chanted it over 100,000 times. So that's a while. You're going to be doing this work. So until then, you're going to default them to me, who I only have a few chants that I have even done that much. Or you're going to default them to YouTube to just go look it up, but it's not really spiritually proper for you to teach something that you haven't really practiced deeply. And so with that said, you can use another amplifier too. You can put it in your other hand. You can set it in your space. You can also charge up your little malas. Like I have this special box that my parents brought back from Ireland. So all my little guys go in there. I have some seashells in there that get charged up. You have your little box. Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, so just collecting those things. Yay! So it's so nice to have things, you know, even though things are just things, but it does help you to immediately obtain that energy. Like you don't have to sit there and work and work and work because you have some stuff around you that already has that energy built into it. And that's the idea with your mala. So with no further ado, I'm going to show you how to hold your mala, which a dear friend of mine taught me years and years ago. So it would be easy to move your mala like this because those are your powerful fingers. You could just fly through it, you know. Oh, that was 3 minutes. Awesome. I did 108. So, however, by using your power fingers, you're not going to be challenging yourself at all, nor are you able to tap into that kinesthetic feeling where you're helping your mind by touching something. So it's called japa mantra when you repeat. And when you use your mala, you're going to start with the guru bead. A lot of people wear this like a necklace, and this is at the bottom. That's as decoration. But you really don't wear your mala outside your clothing for decoration if it's something you've been chanting and praying with. You put your mala on, and this goes at the nape of your neck because the guru is right there at the back of your throat center. So the guru bead sits right there. And then I just tuck it into my bra so it's closest to your heart. And people might want to reach up and grab your mala. Oh, that's so pretty. And then you're like, you know, I was telling you yesterday, like, don't touch my baby, you know. Who said you could go and touch my baby? It's kind of like that. So,
what was the name of that, the one that goes to the nape?
This is the guru bead. So you're going to hold the guru bead. You're going to put it over your ring finger. And I use my fingernail. And you're just going to grab the guru bead with your thumb. And the guru bead is always going to be moving toward your heart. So it's going to move in this direction as you go through it. So you're going to chant. Here, well, let me see if I can chant. And oops, I dropped it. See what happens? This is your weaker finger, so it's easy to drop. But what you are going to do is take the rest of it and hold it and bring it close to your heart, or close to your sacral chakra, or close to your root chakra. So wherever you feel like you need that alignment. So you move it, you're going to be controlling all the extra part by just bringing it in and keeping all that goodness in for yourself, which is not selfish. It's a good thing. And your guru bead is going to be moving towards you like that. So you might have to stop and kind of rebundle it up, but don't lose your place. And then once you go all the way around and you're coming around and your guru bead is coming to the end and you're coming to the top, you're going to hold that same bead. Flip around your hand. And so you're just going to move it around until that bead is right there facing you again. So when you come around, this is on a crystal bowl, that's why I was making that tapping. Okay, and then you're back at the guru bead. Your guru bead's over there. You want it to be closer to you, so you're going to hold it. You're going to flip it around your fingers carefully. And as you flip it around, then you're just going to re-grab it. So now the guru bead is going to be, oh, I didn't flip it. So you're going to come around, and so now the guru bead is toward you. And you are just going to move through, bringing it, you're on the same bead, and then you're just going to move through so it's coming toward you again, okay? So we're going to try it. We're going to do 54. Don't be shy. And so go ahead and do your chant. I know if you feel like you're messing up on the chant, it seems weird, but just feel the energy of it and just repeat the syllables of it, and pretty soon you'll get it. It's very short, so it's Om Gun Ganapataye Namaha. So you're going to start on the one after your guru bead, and go ahead and take the extra, bring it in, and ready? Unmute. I know you're muted. I see you muted. So, all right, you ready? Okay. Om Gun Ganapataye Namaha. 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 Just take and kind of bring your mala close to you. Take a moment just to breathe. So just realize this is your personal prayer time with your creator. So allowing this as a tool just to tap into the higher divine self, God, Christ, however you name that is totally up to you. And we'll come back to our center. And so you could continue to do 108. You can flip it around and do 10 of them. 10 of them would be 1,008. So you do that for 100 days, you've got your 100,000, right? That's a lot, you know. So you could divide it out into longer periods of time. So you can kind of play with, you know, 54, 108, 1,008, and that's really a sacred number. You can look up a lot of studies on that. So as you chant, or as you were chanting or listening to the chant, how do you feel now that you had 54 and kind of
ever since my yoga journey started, I had my own personal mantra, and I've always been drawn to Ganesh, and my dog always barks like midway when I get through like half of it. He starts going crazy, and it's kind of, I get goosebumps, and it gets really powerful for me. So that's why Rocky started barking. I was like, oh, mute, sorry.
So he started barking?
Yeah, he always starts barking, so I was like, oh, muted.
That is so funny. So yeah, dogs really are super sensitive to prayer and mantra and Reiki energy. They really can feel it. Yeah. My dog, when I was getting my Reiki master attunement, it was here actually at our old house before we built after the fire. And it was actually in our living room. And she kept circling my chair, and she was like whining and circling and whining and circling. So the dogs really, they know what's up.
Okay, did y'all hear him?
What's that?
Did you hear the dog bark, or is it okay?
At the end, I heard a bark.
I was like, oh, dog. I gotta go.
I felt good. At first I was stumbling over my words, but then I got the rhythm and I got the words, and I felt really good. And we got done, and I kind of got dizzy for a moment.
Yeah, me too.
I just got like woo, like
yeah.
But I felt really, really relaxed, and like, you know, I had kind of a stressful morning, and I just like this peace washed over me.
Mm. Oh, that's beautiful. That's exactly the intention. And I did get a little dizzy today too. I always like to eat a little bit, not too far out from my meditation, because that way my stomach isn't grumbling, and then like
Yeah.
thinking about, oh, my next meal and ridiculous things that humans have to think about, food and water. But yes, we have to think about those things. So I do like to make sure I have a little bit of food, not a lot, but I mean, I'm very vata, so I process food very fast. If you do not process food really fast, I would suggest not eating before a pranayama and mantra practice. But if eating is distracting to you and you're always hungry, then eat a little bit of something before you do. That way you're not distracted on your cushion and you're sitting there. So yeah, I have a special place inside my house. I don't always go out to my studio to do my practices. So I'd like for you, each of you, to have a special place if you don't. If you do, maybe you want to share a little bit about how you created that little special place. Anybody want to share?
Well, I had one, and then I changed it around. Like, actually, like this is my office, and it's a sunroom, and it's really a really great energy in here, and I love it. And I can, I actually had shelves behind me, and they were encroaching me, so I just took them down, and I feel really good about the energy in here. And I actually have my mandala in front of me. And my plan is to use this as my space again, because I used to have an altar in here, and I took it down because I don't know, it was just crowded in here, and I was like, I felt like it wasn't thriving. It was it was muddied in here. So but yeah, so that's my goal that I've actually been working on, is recreating this space for me, in ramping up in this teacher training.
And do you also practice your yoga in there? You have room for your mat?
I will have room for my mat now that I took that stuff away. So, but previously I practiced my yoga in my living room, but I just don't feel like it's not my space, you know?
It is important to have your space, at least enough space for your cushion. If ideally you have enough space for your mat, even better.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Catherine, do you have a special place in your home?
For the longest time, I usually just kind of drop into chanting, because I get bad anxiety. So that's my go-to for anxiety. But I have a space in my office. I have my piano in the background, and I created that studio for myself as well. So I have a space in there. I have my own certain room in the back of that studio, which is mine to chant and work and practice and stuff. Okay,
so it's not open to the public. It's your own private space there.
I let some people in, but the only people I've so far let in there is one Buddhist person. So it's funny that's been picky choosy. It's interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's sacred space, so you are careful who you share that with.
But I have
these practices. What did you say?
I have a yoga swing in there, and then there's an outside on the studio. There's a back porch, which is a meditation space, which is awesome. So
nice. So and I was going to segue off of that too, that it is important who you do and who you do not share your sacred space with and your sacred practices with, because some people don't, you don't share your dreams with everybody. Same thing with your practices. You don't share those with everybody. It's you have to be picky and choosy who you share this stuff with, because some people will bash what you're doing. They're going to make all kinds of ridiculous, accusations or assumptions that you really don't have time to deal with, nor do you need to.
Yeah, last night I had a situation, basically somebody calling crystals, new age, and I was like, okay. Well, this was a certain group, and I was like, well, I'm pretty sure I believe that my creator made everything, and he gave everybody these tools, and so these are living energy from my creator, and I'll use them and I'll wear them around my neck. So
I'll do what I
want. About sharing that sacred stuff, I recently got into making macrame, and
fun.
And it was something really special to me. And I shared it with a friend, was like, oh my God, please teach me. And so I did. And now she is taken off with it, and she's like doing an Etsy shop now. And it's kind of taken it a little bit from my intent, which was like to slow down and have something that I make with my hands. And I don't like to think that way because she was struggling with anxiety and stuff, and it's been really good and therapeutic for her, and I planted that seed, and I'm happy about that. But now I kind of like, I'm like, all right, now I need to find something new, because now that kind of like, you know, that's gone for me. So what you're saying about sharing what's sacred, yeah, that's why I haven't shared many people that I'm going through this, because it's really sacred to me that I'm doing this.
Yes. Yeah. And I appreciate that, you know. But at the same time too, I do want to invite you to continue to do your macrame, regardless of how she's utilizing it in the world. It's something.
No, it's just kind of like she's got way more time than me, and so she's like making these extravagant, elegant things.
Well,
and
she probably ended up with too much stuff, so she had to sell it, you know.
Well, and I had thought about, you know, possibly opening my own like Etsy shop, selling them as I grew in my craft. But now it's like, okay, well, that's, you know, but
there's like thousands of people out there who make stuff that, you know, there's
not
like, you know, whatsoever. I just want to encourage you.
Yeah.
That's something that was, you know, you can use those. If you don't ever want to sell them, you can use them as gifts. You can use them as donation. You know, so if you don't feel like putting it out on the internet in a way that's not sacred to you is going to work, then you can find whatever you want to do with your macrame.
I know. I'm just saying it was like my cool thing that I was doing, and I shared, and then I'm like, my friend who makes smudge sticks and all sorts of things, she said, and crowns for like the Renaissance Festival and stuff. She's amazing. She shared the same thing, that she learned a little bit the hard way, that don't share, you know, sometimes it's not always best to share what's sacred to you and what is a healing practice for you, you know, so. Yeah,
that's very, very true. And, you know, so there's certain people that will, you know, you can feel that call in your heart. And of course you shared with your heart, and that's it was appropriate time for her to utilize it. But, you know, the end result is I can share yoga with thousands of people, but whatever they do with it, at that point, I'm not in control of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's really weird as you get into teaching and you see hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people come through your path. What the heck happens to people? Like, where do they go? You sometimes just never know. And it's kind of, you have to just let that go. I mean, this is not really directly correlated, but it could be in the future as you begin to touch more lives. You know, I just sometimes someone will pop up into my head and I'm like, gosh, they came like for 2 years straight to my classes. And then all of a sudden just like, they're gone, you know, but all we can do is let that go, because we planted the seed.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever they do with it in their life, they do with it in their life, you know. And if they come back around full circle, and sometimes, since I've been teaching now for 10 years, sometimes now like people will pop back into my life that I haven't seen for a long time, but yet they clearly remembered what we went through and what we worked with when we were together. Whereas it's kind of foggy for me, but as they bring it up, I'm like, oh yeah, I do remember that. And, you know, and they hold that. So whatever we do share, realize that it's perfect for them at their moment, and they may bring it full circle and, you know, bring it around. You may see that result or you may not, you know. So that's kind of part of the process. And I know we all kind of are preaching to the choir here, but I didn't feel like I needed to state that. So anything else you want to share before we wrap up our Zoom training today for our Sangha?
Are you all going to the retreat, Stephanie?
Yeah.
Are you? Cool. Me too. Yes, I'm excited.
Yeah, Amanda is too.
Oh, sweet.
So,
yeah, so all of you on this call are going. Super excited.
Just to reiterate, so the like on the practice log there was sadhana, okay, and then the other one was
the other one is the Ayurvedic practices called Dinacharya.
Okay, so those are my things, like my coconut, like my massage, like things like that. Okay,
your oils,
my dry
your
brushing.
massage, your coconut pulling.
So this sadhana is normally like my yogic practice, but if I switch my intention, it can
it becomes sadhana. Like your intention is what really becomes sadhana. It's not necessarily your asana practice, although asana can be sadhana, and don't get me wrong, but in that particular section of your log, asana is tracked for your hours. As you spend time with me on the mat, that's tracked on a separate sheet. So the sadhana tab is particularly your personal practices. And I know it's kind of a bummer to like log things on a computer after you're meditating, so I don't want you to do that. What I'd like for you to do is keep a practice journal, and then at the end of the week, just summarize everything, either on a couple lines or 7 lines. It's up to you how much you want to break it down. And then just summarize your takeaways. The cool thing about that, and I think Catherine, I think you were actually mentioning this too, is that you've looked at your sadhana log and seen how much you've grown just even since July, you know. So it is very trackable when you do mark it down, even more so than a journal, because a journal you may never flip back and actually read through it. When it's just on lines on a spreadsheet and you have your little bullet points, you're like, oh gosh, I started with just breathing, you know, and now I have this and this and this and this and this. I mean, the amount of tools you have in your tool belt, think about like Tim the tool guy, you know, you have like this huge massive tool belt that you're building, and you can pull this out when this is needed. You can pull this out when this is needed. When someone comes into your life that needs this, you can pull this out. So that's really what we're building, is something that's close to our heart, something that's deeply embodied, and we can just pull it out at the drop of a hat. One example that I'm going to share as we end is the 3 chants that I really had been working with for the first 7 or so years of my practice up until 2014 was the Ganesha chant that I just taught you, the Lakshmi chant, and that's the chant of abundance, and the Gayatri, which we'll work with the Gayatri at retreat. And we may even have time to work with the Lakshmi chant. So those are the 3 that I really feel like I can work with you on, because I've been working with them for so long. But after our house fire, and I was really disoriented in my world, like basically my root chakra was ripped up and moved off, and I didn't really know where I was. I had been grounded here on this particular property in this really sacred space since 1999. So the fire happened in 2014, and then we had to move, and, you know, I was in a rental house and I was really ungrounded. I felt like, okay, all of my gurus have been crossed over, spiritual gurus that I've really tapped into, or have gotten their messages from books and been praying with. And I felt, okay, now I just need a physical guru. Like I need to seek out a teacher. I felt like I just had to have somebody. I wasn't trusting myself anymore. And as that happened, not to get into too much detail because we're wrapping up our call, but I got really off track, and I got into some vibration of some energies that was not really jiving with my Christ consciousness. And I didn't realize it because it kind of came in really sneaky, and it totally threw me off. And I tapped into a person that was teaching something that was not appropriate for me. And it totally took me off track, away from my angels, away from my light. And I didn't even know it happened. So I had a pranic cleanse, which is a massive energy change. It's like a huge awakening, and a friend of mine does pranic healing, and she's like, I don't know what was attached to you, but it was weird and it was creepy. And so she said, even as she was driving over, she was getting this energy. So she cleared all that off of me, and then I began to use my chants every single night. I would take a bath in salts and oils and chant. And I would alternate the Ganesha mantra, the Lakshmi mantra, and the Gayatri. And I would do all 3 of those. So you can combine your tools like that, and when you really need to dig deep. And so I was combining, you know, my oils, my bath, my salt cleanse, the chanting, the malas. I was using candles and incense. I mean, I was pulling out everything I had. And it kept me very, very grounded. It brought me back to being completely stable and centered. I was able to, at that very same time, record the whole entire training that you're going through. It's just crazy. Like everything I was just in a complete place of trust.
So you said the Lakshmi was the one that we listened to the Bhakti house band?
Yeah, the Bhakti house band has a Lakshmi chant. They also have a
Yeah.
Ganesha chant on their CD.
Yeah. I listened to the ones that you had listed in the training, but what does Gayatri mean?
Gayatri? The Gayatri is like the big, great mantra. Like it's the most famous mantra in the world. And the Gayatri is, I'll teach you about that at the retreat, but I'll teach you the meanings and stuff behind it. Sanskrit doesn't necessarily translate directly to English, but the intention is like you're calling in the sun, the universe, the moon, the creator, like everything. You're calling it in. Attention, I am honoring. It's just a really powerful place of being in reverence and honor. And, so the Gayatri is beautiful. And my dear friend Kristen has taught me how to chant that with the Bhakti House Band. And so I always default to the way that they chant it because I like the tune. It really makes me remember it. And it's on their CD.
That's when I got playing that. I'm telling you, it was like I was listening at like midnight. I was working on something, and I was like jamming in here. I'm like, this is
right?
awesome.
It is awesome.
Like, it was so cool.
It is. So I do encourage you to download that CD. Kristen has a 40-day practice that she does with the Gayatri, and it's pretty transformative. So you like just kind of bottom line, you can wrap everything together into one big ball and combine it, or you can do one little tiny thing at a time. But I'd like you to start just adding little tiny pieces to your tool belt as you go, and then just documenting that on your sadhana log. And then, you'll have a really good place to go back and say, wow, this is where I was and this is where I'm at. It's such a huge way to see your progress. And then at the same time, it's also calculating your hours. So you really kind of see, I've been putting in some time on my mat or my cushion, and that's where that comes from. People think the 200 hours comes from just getting 200 hours done and you're done. No, it is. I mean, the practices break down where they have to be done so many hours for so much particular kind of practice to really make it an applicable 200-hour training. So that's where we kind of differ from a lot of trainings out there. So we want to just thank you so much for joining. Thank you, everybody, for being present and here. Amanda, now that you're in your car, do you want to just share your story really quickly? Hey. Oh, I think I need to unmute you. Oh, nope, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
There
now?
we go.
Hi.
Hey.
I'm sorry that I made this appointment before you sent out the email. And it does this thing, you can only give twice in 7 days and whatever. I couldn't skip this one. So thanks for bearing with me, and I'm sorry about the noise earlier. I didn't realize I wasn't muted. What do you want me to tell you?
So I just want to share, I know you're, after you give blood, you're kind of loopy. So after, just a little bit about your journey, what brought you to yoga? How did you come to find the training, and what are your intentions or anything you want to share that's on your heart?
Okay, so I am a group fitness instructor, and I love cardio. I love the high that you get from that, and that's been my powerhouse, my formats. But I fell in love with a trainer named Shalene Johnson, who has a Pilates yoga fusion format called PIO. She developed for people who can't sit still like me, but still want flexibility training. And it turned out to be my soulmate format. When I practice it or when I'm teaching it, I'm completely in the zone. I have just so much more confidence and I was going to say lack of self-doubt. That's the same thing though. It's a little redundant.
Well, it's a little bit different though. Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel strong and beautiful, and I know what I'm doing, and it's the few hours every week that I really feel like, I don't know, like I guess people are supposed to feel in my mind, like just at peace. And then you friended me or messaged me, one or the other, because we have like so many mutual friends. It's crazy. And they're not like all yoga people either.
Right.
Country moms and people from my church. And so that was pretty impressive. And I think the universe and God just took care of the rest. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful to be here. And even if I had the time and money to do the fast track, I would have still chosen the slow and steady, because like I just want to savor every moment of it.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you for sharing. I'm so glad that you got to share your story.
Where do we all live?
Oh, good question.
I live in Hideaway.
Tyler?
Hideaway?
Oh.
Like by Tyler.
Oh, gotcha.
She's in Texas. We're all in Texas on this call. Stephanie, it says Stephanie Waxahachie on your name.
Amanda, where do you live?
I'm in Keene. It's a tiny little town near Cleburne.
Okay.
Or Burleson, or
Yeah.
whatever, you know.
Cool.
And I'm in Ovilla, which is a tiny little town outside of Dallas. So
we're all in tiny towns.
yeah. Well, Stephanie lives in Waxahachie. It's pretty big.
You're out of the tiny town group.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to seeing each of you in person at our next Yoga for Your Inner Goddess retreat. And of course, we'll be seeing everybody each day on our Hangouts. So make sure to check that regularly. And I will go ahead and wrap up. It's 2 o'clock. So just want to say namaste. And if you want to end with an om, deep breath in. Om. So much gratitude for each of you. Have a lovely day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.